right. Back on my sci-fi express lane grind. Venting off stuff, off my chest. This is Jeff Carroll. Sci-fi express lane is what you on for. And I think I'm going to just call this, put some respect on Streetlit's name, yo. Because it's getting out of control, My best movie of the year, I know it's, February 5th or whatever, beginning of February. But my first best movie of the year is American Fiction, right? With Jeffrey Wright, Erica Alexander, and a host of other notables, black A-listers. And I felt, and this is probably triggered by Issa Rae's appearance and her character in the movie, that the movie took shots at Streetlit and sideways, but I don't throw people's politics far away from their characters, and maybe I'll do something on that, but I don't throw people's politics away from their characters. I think there's a lot of correlation, and I think when I watched Insecure, and I saw a long clip of her hip hop show in Miami, I started to it definitely happened with Insecure, but I believed her politics were sort of condescending towards hood people, probably even men. I think what makes her so successful is that she has opinions, and it's a different type of opinion. However, I don't have to agree with all of her opinions, or anybody's opinions for that matter. And I think the character she played of a successful streetlit, urban fiction, whatever you want to call it, writer, was a diss, yo. There's no other way around it. It was a straight diss. I think it was cool in the movie, it worked in the movie, and I think the movie itself needed to put its opinion into perspective and, explain itself, but her character and her body of work speak to something outside of the movie, because I think it's congruent, right? So, Streetlit started probably, there's myths, right? There was a book called The Street, a black woman struggling in the hood in, I think, the 40s, 50s, or whatever, and it's called The Street, right? But then also you had urban fiction like Donald Goins, you had Iceberg Slim writing these non-glorious stories about the 50s and 60s, pimps, drug addicts, criminals, thieves, all of that, right? Probably gangster movies would be close to it. And then you had Sister Soldier. We had, I'm going to say we did have a surge of writers who were in the boom of the 90s, independent black writers. We had, Waiting to Exhale. And Waiting to Exhale wasn't streetlit, but it was very drama-filled. It wasn't amazingly literary, right? It felt like a lot of gossip, right? And it hit the streets, and it was in bookstores. She got a big publisher, and then, black people follow trends. So we said, yo, let's, write another one. And I know a woman whose man cheated on her. I know a man cheated on a woman and nobody knows. And then it started to blossom. And then, you know, Sister Soldier, well, let's say you had people like Omar Tyree, who was writing, you know, Fly Girl, and Fly Girl was, you know, a girl on her own dealing with, you know, beauty, what it meant to be beautiful, and, you know, from a 90s, he wasn't writing the 50s, he wasn't writing 60s, he wasn't writing Mahogany with Diana Ross, he was writing a girl who listened to hip-hop. The story's name was Fly Girl. That's a hip-hop term. Fly Girl. Who was it? Houdini, right? And then Sister Soldier came out with, and this is all published. These are all published deals, right? No complaints, right? Sister Soldier came out with, well, she had written, you know, No Disrespect, but her big Streetlit book was Closest One to Ever, right? Closest One to Ever hit into about 2000, you know, maybe 1999. It was like right at the end, and it changed the game, because now this girl is not Fly Girl. This girl is Troubled Girl, and she's in the hip-hop community, and it was fire. You know, she had worked it out, you know, at summer camps, you know, doing with Daddy's House, and the story was tight. By the time she wrote it up, I'm pretty sure she didn't even have to do much thinking. She knocked it out, blah, 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 right? And the book went crazy. The story, she got caught up with a drug dealer, yada, yada, yada. Boom. How many stories did we hear after that? And I'm not even going to say there was after that, but we had started hearing, you know, I'm dating a drug dealer. These girls are drug dealers. Shout out to my man Stephen Smalls, Treasure Blue, right? And Quan came out, right? Quan came out. Then we had Nikki Turner. We had Wahida Clark. Yo, these Streetlit authors was dropping. Relentless Aaron, my man Relentless Aaron, he wrote stories that I still feel should continue, but they were so hot that they were independent. You know, Relentless Aaron had a publisher. Stevens, the Treasure Blue had a publisher. Quan didn't. I think Quan self-published. I think Terry Woods, she's self-published. I think Wahida self-published, right? But these are the pioneers of it. They had Carl Weber, and he changed the game. And I don't even know when he jumped in. He comes up with a company called Urban Books. I'm going to promote other people. How do I know this? Because in the early 2000s, I had my movie Gold Digger Killer. So Sister Soldier, she, you know, she's friends with me. You know, I heard the Coldest Winter story told orally, right? She comes to Gold Digger Killer, the movie. And my movie is right in that conversation. You know what I'm saying? This is before Tubi. My movie was screening at 2005, 2006, right? And Coldest Winter Ever is early 2000s. It might be 2003, my bad. Anyway, I'm going to these book fairs and stuff like that. And when the movie came out, 2007, I was known, right? It blasted out on Starbuck Wild Show, and it got released at Walmart. It was selling out. It came out 2007, went fall, September, and it was sold out by Thanksgiving. Shout out, right, to the movie, all the greatness of it. Then I wrote the book, and that came out in 2010. And I started my first book, first novel. I started going to the book fairs, Harlem Book Fair. It's easy to get in because I had a good movie and people knew the movie. I titled the book Gold Digger Killer, you know, based on the movie. I mean, I self-published it, but, you know, a year later after I self-published it, I got a book deal, right? A Streetlit publisher. I was going out and, you know, we were hearing stories of Streetlit writers selling hundreds of books on the street in one day. You know, 100 books? That's ridiculous. That's That's practically more than a successful book signing at Barnes and Noble's with advertisement and marketing. You understand what I'm saying? So Streetlit was doing it. It was going to Essence Book Festival, Harlem Book Fair, Philadelphia, every street. It was selling like bootleg DVDs. You know, they were selling on, you would walk down 125th Street and Streetlit was all you saw. It had rivaled, you know, black history, conspiracy theorist type books that used to be sold on there. It was rivaling that, right? Streetlit was ridiculous. But here comes Carl Weber. Carl Weber comes up with Urban Books. He gets his books out. He has a bookstore in Maryland and Baltimore, and it's selling out. Streetlit is so popular that it's spruing bookstores, right? Book fairs, meet the author. Oh my God, they're doing after parties at clubs. The Streetlit authors are rock stars, right? We still have magazines, so they've been, you know, they're in all of the magazines. Definitely rock stars, not making little bits of money. You know, Omar Tyree, he's still at his publishing. He's getting, you know, 6-figure deals, right? Or high five, right? This is what's going on. This is Streetlit, right? By the 2010s, 2012, we started hearing snippets of disrespect. Oh, these stories is cheesy. Oh, you know, get an editor. You know, how are they talking? You know, and it sounded like how hip hop was talked about when it was first music. You know, the beats are good, but they don't sound polished. The rappers are writing songs that's good, but, you know, they need to use better English. You know what I'm saying? And really what it was coming from the streets. You know, that's why I say I don't know where Streetlit got its name from, but it was appropriate. They dropped it. Nobody ain't gonna call themselves Streetlit no more because of wanting to sell mainstream, and it kind of died down a little bit. But I'm gonna get into like the future of like Streetlit or the present. Streetlit came from the streets. I like to call it hip hop literature. You know, we was teasing, you know, black people was teasing black people. You know, on BET they had a commercial going, read a book, and it was a girl twerking, and it was trying to clown a black community that had been told you don't read, but yet we were pioneering a literary art form a literary genre that was more successful than others. It was like we were making hip hop in books, and you know how hip hop took over. So I think Streetlit has now taken over. All right. So then, fast forward, right? Carl Weber gets his books into Walmart, and he starts publishing other ones. He got his series on BET that came out, I'm going to say, right before the quarantine, 2018, 2019. It ran for a couple of years, a couple of seasons, I mean. And then we got Tubi, right? Holy moly. And I got to close out with this because this is going on too long. Tubi took the whole world by storm. Not because Tubi was there. Tubi was out. But the moment they started putting urban fiction on there, and they started with early 2000s urban fiction, right? They put Gold Digger Killer up there. I got Gold Digger Killer on there. What? Fire. Probably rekindled Gold Digger Killer. Top 25 best, you know, Tubi movies, right? Then people said, yo, I can make a dime. You know, you don't have to tell black people twice. Once they see it, they ran towards it. So we started flooding it. You know, 2 years ago, I had a kid tell me, oh man, all I watch is Tubi. Last year, a student brought me a list of his top 10 movies on Tubi. It wasn't Hollywood blockbusters. It wasn't theatrical releases. These were all Streetlit stories, you know? Sheesh, just like Let's Do It Again. Just like Uptown Saturday Night all came from Streetlit stories like Donald Goins and Cotton Comes to Harlem was actually a book when it before, and that again is drug stories of police and stuff. These stories started going into film. You know what I'm saying? I just feel bad it leaped over comic books, but I got something for y'all. I'm trying to do the Gold Digger Killer comic book or graphic novel. But yes, Streetlit made Tubi. You understand? I got a Streetlit author I got to find for y'all out of Chicago that got 5 movies, and I think they deal with a girl starting off as a stripper, running a strip club, and just building, you know. But that's Streetlit, and that's the stories that we have. I love my thug, you know. I'm in love with a stripper, stuff that, you know, some rap songs used to sing about. So anyway, I just want to say, put some, you know, respect on Streetlit. I'm a member of the Black science fiction community. I default Streetlit, but I'm not from the streets. I'm from the suburbs, and Streetlit takes a lot of research, and it takes a lot of speculation for me to do, and it takes me to a place I don't always like, but I do write it. I have the sequel to Gold Digger Killer coming out, and I like to call myself Streetlit Sci-fi. You know, my characters is from the same streets as the Streetlit characters are. We might see them, you know. My characters might be a Streetlit character, have some drugs they want to clean up, but they're going to make it into vampire blood or something like that. There's going to be a science fiction element to it. My first science fiction book was called Thug Angel, Rebirth of a Gargoyle. He went man on fire. It's like Blade, still one of my most popular books. I have Rashida the Zombie Killer. And then I went to space and called myself a book, Welcome to Boss Lady's Planet. You know, if I would have called it Welcome to Boss Lady's City, it would have been a straight Streetlit book. But I put the sci-fi swing on it. And yeah, it was a strip club. She's out of a strip club in space. But then comes a planetary invasion, and they got to deal with it. And that's Welcome to Boss Lady's Planet. So, just want to say that to y'all. I'm out of here. I'm over time. But I think I'm going to do a part 2 about Streetlit or something. Who knows? All right, deuces. Remember, what do you call it? Like, subscribe, and comment and share. Sci-Fi Express Lane out. Jeff Carroll out.